Okay, so that notification signifies that we are on. Good evening once again, everybody. This is Francisco with my good buddies Andrew and Charles for another edition of Sports Goofs, the 35th one. And, I don't know, say hi, boys.
Hello.
Hola.
Okay, that was that was very I don't know.
Short and to the point.
Yeah. So, anyway, so guess we're tomorrow's the NFL. Tomorrow the NFL starts, so we are one day away from freaking. You always pick the times I can't watch. Well, sorry, Mikey. I am very sorry. But yes, I blame me. Blame natural disasters. uh, we'll try and relook at our schedule after we kind of settle down here a bit. But yeah, we'll be talking NFL. Ezekiel Elliott finally signed with the Dallas Cowboys for a ton of money. What else? What else are we talking about? College football, week one, the true week one, not week zero, whatever the heck they were calling it, actually happened. And unfortunately, my team is no longer in the running for anything anymore because of what happened. But Andrews is. In any case, and we got baseball as well. Baseball's happening. Some stuff happened with hockey, and LeBron James suddenly thinks he's the owner of Mexico's food industry. Actually, I wanted to start because I feel like it's just so weird and strange. I don't know, Charles. I'm sorry if I put you in the spot here. I wanted to go to the cage first because of something that happened with the up and coming All Elite Wrestling and a certain Senor Jericho. So, could you enlighten us, please? Because this is both funny and I don't know if sad or if it's a bit. I don't know. It's all over the place.
All
So
right.
we're
So,
here.
welcome everybody to your weekly Trueplex. As I tell everybody, wrestling is not fake. It is scripted. It is basically a tango, a dance, a ballet, an orchestra with people in the background dancing, whatever you want to call it. As men and women in tights fighting over love, titles, competition, respect. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about what's happened in both WWE, AEW. I'll save a little bit of the AEW for last as the cap off. A little bit in WWE world, just to give you a refresher. Clash of Champions next week or Sunday. Not super interested in it, but hey, you do what you can, whatever you can. What's really kind of going on is King of the Ring tournament, and or as I like to call it, how Vince McMahon likes to piss off the masses and put the guys who shouldn't be in the semifinals or quarterfinals in there further out. Of course, I can't get what I want. I'm also kind of sick of Vince putting guys I want to win in life to not make it. Oh well. Last night we saw Chad Gable dance with Andrade. I'm a big Andrade guy. I like Chad Gable, but Chad Gable doesn't do it. Great technical wrestler, has no charisma whatsoever. Saw Elias go over Ali, as my paralegal Vince Eric likes to say. Ali's changed your mind. Well, we can't change Vince's because Elias beat him clean 1, 2, 3 over in Raw, where a lot of controversy happens. Just to tell you, with King of the Ring, it's kind of a tourney. So you had Samoa Joe versus Ricochet going on. I love me some Samoa Joe. I respect me some Ricochet. What I don't respect is creative, not being able to put one guy over the other. So they had a double fall. What that meant is instead of one event, and Baron Corbin winning an automatic in finals, he's being a triple threat match. It's lazy, it's sloppy. Sometimes you have to pick a guy to win over the other guy. Grow a pair Paul Heyman, grow a pair Vince McMahon. No one liked that move. I sure as hell didn't. On to bigger news, better news. All Elite Wrestling had its all-out pay-per-view with many things happen, but most importantly, you had the AEW inaugural heavyweight champion revealed, or contest, whatever you want to call it. Chris Jericho versus Adam Hangman Page, the up-and-comer versus the icon, the I guess living legend if Larry Zbyszko doesn't want to take it, the Ayatollah of rock and rolla. And people were thinking Hangman Page was going to win out. Well, however, it was the old Lionheart Y2J Chris Jericho, who is your inaugural AEW All Elite Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. Right move, in my opinion. Hangman Page is only known to a small sector of people who like Ring of Honor and who like New Japan and the Elite and the Bullet Club, whatever faction you want to call it, Chris Jericho is known by everybody. You know, modern, old, new wrestlers. It's the perfect way to captivate and, you know, catapult a new program that's going to be starting in October with their weekly thing, with a weekly TV show. The next week in November with AEW Gear. Keeping in mind for Jericho, he's going to keep the belt up for a couple months and then give the full rub either to a Kenny Omega or a Hangman Page and have them win it out. But even more interesting, and the story within a story, but even more interesting, Chris Jericho celebrated because he is not. He's a god, ladies and gentlemen. He's a wrestling god, but he is not an arrogant god. He decided to celebrate his AEW winning championships at a Longhorns. It's not accurate, it wasn't the same day, but he decided to go to Longhorns, and somehow he lost this big, beautiful belt, if you can get that in the background. There's conflicting stories. It said it was stolen while he was eating at the Longhorns. There's other stories that say it was lost at luggage. I like to believe that he lost at Longhorns. That came in character, still spilling champagne around people, saying, "Get it over to the public," because that's what he did after he won his title. It was great. I believe he came in character with this big, audacious, gaudy gold belt that kind of looks like a, you know, Power Ranger attachment. Look at that belt.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Gone. It happened in Tallahassee of all places, so someone was going to go sell that for crack.
The first heavyweight event was in Tallahassee.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm kind of wondering.
Don't get me wrong. I love Tallahassee. I used to live there. I spent a lot of time there.
Yeah.
Beautiful city. It beats the hell out of Miami in terms of natural beauty. But Tallahassee?
Well, here's the thing. It's Florida. The Shad Khan and Tony Khan, the Khans, they have the Jacksonville team. Plus, if you think about it, it's gold, garnet and gold. Maybe kind of remind FSD what a championship looks like. That's my favorite
wait a second. Hold on. Wait.
We have to get there in a minute.
At least we've gotten one this decade, so you know.
And our quarterback didn't sexually assault people. I'll keep it to that.
He's not our problem anymore.
Correct. Hey, that's an Urban Meyer answer. Good job. Bringing it back. So he lost the belt. Tallahassee police helped out. I've been following this case on Twitter like crazy. Follow us on Twitter, Sports Goofs.
Oh, I love that plug. I love that plug. It's just my initials.
And then Andrews, which is the easiest thing. Dan Frijoles, funny guy. Follow his stuff. So he lost it at the Longhorn Steakhouse. I thought he'd be a Roof and Chris kind of guy or going to a swanky one, but he's just one of us. He bestowed his presence. I'm sorry. If I was at a Longhorns, I would be like, hit me. Pinch me. I can't believe I'm dreaming. A guy who I've known for 20 plus years as a fan with this big audacious belt. I'm going to get an autograph and I'm going to steal that belt. So if I was them, I'd run this as a work, you guys. I would run this as a work. I would put it as an ego trip, saying this is the only time I'm ever going to lose this title belt. It's going to be in public because none of you punks at the up and coming All Elite Wrestling is going to be able to beat me. Tune in Wednesday nights in October to see me hand in everybody and thank me for making my services available for the show. Run the work, man. Run the work. You know, it was definitely the caper because I'll share with you the story within the story. I've read when Jericho won the Undisputed Championship against Stone Cold and The Rock in one night. I think it was Unforgiven, where they combined the World Heavyweight Champion from WCW and then WWE. This was the daunting realization of wrestling. He didn't get this big party. He didn't get this big celebration. He didn't get this big anything. What he did was he ordered a pizza and got beer and ate in his motel room. So I feel like this is a nice, for some reason, kind of full circle effect of what happens as a wrestler. Because at the end of the day, guys, wrestlers are carnies. My favorite kind of carnies, but they're just carnies.
I like to think of them as men of the people.
Well, you got to be man of the people if you're making probably a solid $500,000 and you're going to go to Longhorns for steak. But you know what? I've had side plug, even though they're not my non-specialty, I will say their 7-pepper sirloin steak, very good. Got to get it rare. Be a real human being. Eat that stuff fresh out. It's great. That's what I got for you, Francisco.
Oh, wow. So, okay, but they found it, right? It's found. It's been found.
Oh, yeah, it's been found now recently. Correct.
Okay,
and
but
I see the Arby's tweet in the background, which is fantastic. Yeah. Because the Judas, for those who don't know, Chris Jericho is not only a wrestler, actor, author, he's also a rock star with Fozzy. So they have a song called Judas. It's really good. You should listen to it. And he even named his new finisher.
Hold on, I got Chris Jericho on the line right here.
Yeah, you got to play this out. It's great.
First AEW champion would blood streaming down my face after one of the hardest matches I've ever had in my life. Some low-life scumbag committed grand larceny and robbed me of the AEW championship. Now as I sit here in my palatial estate, in my beautiful mansion, getting ready to have a little bit of the bubbly, I'm just imagining what I would do to that son of a bitch if he was here right now. And as a result, I am launching a worldwide investigation using the top private investigators in the world today to find out who committed this crime. And trust me, as the AEW champion, as your Le Champion, I promise to regain and restore and find and reclaim the AEW championship. And once again, give you another reason to finally give me the thank you that I deserve. You're welcome.
You gotta love the showmanship. You have to love the showmanship. The thanks that he deserves, and he said that you're welcome to us.
I say thank you all the time.
Well, that was that's
wrestling done right. Taking real life events and making a spin.
For real. This is fun. This is fun. Okay, so I guess we can move on to our next topic. I don't know. There's football, but I don't know where we want to go. We want to go with college, or we want to go to professionals. NFL starts tomorrow. Zeke,
College.
You want college, or you want to hold off on college for now? Not sure.
I know why you want to hold off on it, but you might as well accept the inevitable.
Basically, be the Thanos of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, that Garnet and Gold comment. Let's just do it.
All right.
Okay, fine. All right.
FSU, man. What happened, man?
Man. So, anyways, my dad was watching the game, and he saw that FSU was up big against Boise State, and my dad's like, okay. And mind you, this is a game that was supposed to be played in Jacksonville, where the Jaguars play, and then was moved due to the hurricane to Tallahassee. It was 2-hour drive away. In any case, FSU was up big. My dad's like, okay, they're gonna win big. I'm not gonna watch the rest of the game. I watched the rest of the game. I watched the rest of the game.
So did I.
And
As did I.
few hours after the game, my dad calls me. He's like, "Hey, how about them Seminoles?" Because he didn't watch the rest of the game. He's not on Twitter or any of that crap. So I'm like, "They lost." He's like, "They lost." I'm like, "How did they lose?" They didn't score a single point in the second half. And they even forgot how to frickin' recover a fumble.
Sounds familiar.
There were two guys, no Boise State Broncos next to them, and I don't know why nobody jumped on top of it. They treated it like it was a frickin' live grenade rather than a frick. Actually, they should have treated it like a live grenade. They should have jumped on top of it. That's how you save other people. Gosh, man. Everybody's calling for Willie Taggart's head now.
Let me say this.
Okay.
UCF fans, I'm not talking about the ones that started coming around in like 2017 or whenever, when we started really winning.
The bandwagoners.
We accept the bandwagoners. We accept all fans.
All right. Okay.
But Willie Taggart used to be the head coach at our wonderful rival South Florida. And he is a very bad coach. Yes, he beat us while he was there, but he had a couple of good seasons, and that's what made people want to want to make him coach, but it's more about he had good players that
Right.
propped him up versus a good coach propping up. Wasn't USF ranked under his regime? I don't remember. JPP was before him. Well,
okay.
before him. That was Jim Levitt, I believe. But some coaches, it's they take quote unquote not good players and then brings them together, and it's the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, right?
Right.
That's not true with him. He's propped up by his good players, so when a good player is no longer there, he looks like shit.
Gosh.
Case in point.
Mm-hmm.
There's an article that came up.
I'm gonna look him up while we're here.
Started at Western Kentucky, WKU, and then he went over to USF. Then he went to Oregon for a couple of years, and then he went to Florida State from there because it was his dream job, apparently.
Former Seminole.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hold on. There was an article that came out that. Okay, so here we go. So I want to make sure I get this right. Here, talk without.
Okay, so I'm looking him up, his history after his playing career. Went to high school in Bradenton, Florida. And so Western Kentucky, he became the coach of USF. Led the Bulls to a 2-10 season his first season. Then 4-8 the next season. 2015, led by conference leaders quarterback Quentin Flowers and Marlon Mack, the Bulls started 1-3, finishing with an 8-5 record, and they lost to Western Kentucky in the Miami Beach Bowl, played at Marlins Park. And the Miami Beach Bowl doesn't exist anymore now. That's because Derek Jeter doesn't need any of that crap. In 2016, they went 10-2 and won the AAC East Division, their first double-digit win season in school history. Then he went to Oregon, and
I think he was there for 2 seasons.
Yeah, actually, he came in December 2016, and then no, he's only there for 1 season. 1 season, and that was it.
Oh, was it 1 season?
Yeah.
Dang.
They lost funny enough, they lost the Las Vegas Bowl to Boise State. But Taggart had already taken the Seminoles job by that point, so it was Mario Cristobal that was coaching them.
Okay,
Anyways.
so I finally found it. He was doing his week call-in show with Tallahassee Democrat. He was saying that I think after going through last weekend and seeing our guys going down and cramping, one thing we talked about with our medical staff is our guys got to hydrate. That can't be on Thursday. That can't be on Friday. That can't be on Thursday. They need to start hydrating earlier in the week and take care of their bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's a smart move to not hydrate your players a couple of days before the game. He tried to clarify it, but still stupid. And then on top of that, he now had the brilliant idea of, hey, you know what? I'm going to put my defensive coordinator in the press box. Just now, he realized that. For anyone that doesn't really follow, teams will often have at least one of their coaches, typically the coordinators, up in the press box, because then they can see
The whole field.
Exactly. You can't really see on the ground.
Exactly.
So he finally said, hey, you put coach up in the box. Bear in mind, this guy has been coaching for, I don't know when he started coaching at Western Kentucky, but maybe you have that up. But still, insert you don't say me. Exactly. No, exactly. It's just so plainly obvious what he should be doing, and he's not doing such thing. Now, let me say this though. Boise State is not a bad team.
No, they're not.
They're a very good team. Heck, they're ranked this week. So I don't want to say, oh, FSU is having a bad year. They lost to a bad Boise State. No, Boise State is a very good team. It's just you would expect a team with all of the resources that Florida State has, and it's a home game. It was going to be a neutral game, although let's be honest,
Jacksonville's not a neutral site.
Jacksonville is, you said, 2 hours away from Tallahassee. They're in freaking Boise, Idaho. They have to fly a couple of thousand miles to get there. So FSU just sucked.
Oh yeah. Oh no, there's no excuses. There's no they weren't drinking enough water. They were drinking too much water. It was just freaking. You shouldn't lose. What was it, like an 18-point lead?
Yeah, it was a lot.
You shouldn't lose an 18-point lead and not score a single freaking point in the second half like that. If you're a major college football program, with the history that Florida State does have. Just saying. Inexcusable. That's, I mean, gosh. It was just bad. Let's move on, please. We know they suck. Can we move on? I'm already gonna suffer enough for football this season with the Seminoles and the freaking and the Dolphins. All right, FAU got trounced by Ohio State. They're gonna get trounced by UCF. It's all awful. FIU lost. I don't have any football. I don't know what the sport is. It's just awful for me.
Well, I want to talk about UCF.
Go ahead.
I won't take that long, I promise. So UCF was playing the Florida A&M Rattlers down in Orlando. Up in Orlando. The final score was 62-0.
Yep.
Now, that may seem like bringing up the score, and to be honest, kind of is, but it all isn't. Because we were getting, although funny enough, the FAMU band did not go because they were in a competition out in Houston.
Oh.
So a lot of UCF fans were disappointed because they wanted to see the world famous FAMU band.
Yeah.
Which almost universally is considered one of the best college marching bands. So UCF won 62-0. They were doing kind of a quarterbacking by committee. The QB1, the starting quarterback was, yes, they did a few years ago. One member died, I believe. So they were essentially they didn't exist. They were completely shut down for a few years. While that investigation was underway, but they, I guess, cleaned house and that they were allowed to come back and start marching again.
Okay. And that was regard to FAMU being suspended, right, for hazing.
Although they're suspended, they're banned from the playoffs this year due to rule violations, NCAA rule violations.
Okay.
Anyway, back to the game.
Right.
So starting quarterback was Brandon Wimbush, who transferred in from Notre Dame this offseason, graduate transfer. So he was ruled the starting quarterback, but Josh Heupel, UCF's head coach, said that the number 2 quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, who I'm sure I mentioned this last week, went to the same high school as Mackenzie Milton, said he was going to get a lot of action as well. And so he did. Wimbush had a very, say, average game. He played most of the reps, whereas Gabriel, he did a sizable amount of the snaps, but he looked really good when he was on the field. I forget what it was, but I think he was like 2 for 2 on drives and getting scores and getting touchdowns. So he looked really good. So it was not quite running it up because it wasn't keeping your true number 1 in there. Like last year, it would be if we kept in Mackenzie Milton and just kept scoring, that would be running it up. But here was kind of, getting everybody's feet wet and testing to see how everyone would do. Bad news from the game, though, was one of our starting cornerbacks, Brandon Moore, we call him Bam, he's done for the year. He was injured. He dislocated his knee towards ACL. Back what he thought was an interception, but was called back because the ball hit the ground. So it was actually an incomplete pass. Extremely unfortunate. He's a great player. He's a junior, so he was a veteran on the defense. It's really a shame that it happened, especially on a play that didn't count. And coincidentally enough, it was almost an identical injury to what Mackenzie Milton had last year, albeit better in a way because there was no blood loss, there was no nerve damage, compared to Mackenzie Milton, who had blood loss and nerve damage, which made it, as I mentioned, he almost could have lost his leg.
Right. Or died.
Difference, though, is Brandon Moore tore his ACL, whereas Mackenzie did. So, I guess it's whatever. Ultimately, Brandon Moore's in much better shape and health than Mackenzie was. He went to his high school alma maters out in, I think, Seminole County. He went to their game the next night, but in a wheelchair and a boot. So hopefully he'll be back next year, but he's 100% done for this season.
Okay.
Can I cover a couple more things from college football?
Yeah, man, go ahead. Well, I mean, we still got we're not even half hour through yet, man. I mean,
do the highlights / lowlights.
Yeah.
Tennessee. For those who don't know.
Tennessee.
For those who don't know, the Tennessee Volunteers, who play in a 100,000 plus seat stadium, are,
gosh.
I guess you could call them blue bloods because they have some success in the past. They lost to the Georgia State Panthers.
What?
Yes. I was actually, because I went to Atlanta today, or I was in Atlanta today, and I was passing by the Georgia State Stadium, which is formerly Turner Field, former home of the Atlanta Braves. Braves suck, by the way. I'm always going to dig at them. I was just looking around to see if, there was, any significant, I didn't see much. I didn't see, I was looking for, a billboard or something, just to promote the program after that huge win, but... well, isn't their head coach a former Steve Spurrier disciple or something like that? Which it's something. It was something. There's a Steve Spurrier connection. Which again, if you watch SB Nation's beef history, there's a long, extensive beef history between Steve Spurrier and Tennessee.
He was a running game coordinator under Spurrier in South Carolina.
There you go. So there it is. Some more. He's still screwing over the Volunteers. Oh, gosh.
So Georgia State, this was a team that was founded in 2010. Not moved up to the FBS level. They were created in 2010.
Right.
This is a team that is less than 10 years old. Their head coach is in his third season. They are playing in a stadium.
They're playing in a baseball stadium.
They are playing in a renovated baseball stadium, which, by the way, I got to give props to the city of Atlanta. This is the third iteration of that stadium.
Yeah.
It was created as the Olympic Stadium for the 96 Olympics, where they do the track and field, the opening and closing ceremonies. The year after, it was built with the intention of it becoming the Atlanta Braves Stadium.
Right.
You can look at pictures when it was the Olympic Stadium, and you can see, it looks almost exactly like the Atlanta Braves Stadium.
Okay.
Then it became the Braves Stadium for 20 years. And instead of tearing it down like almost every other city does with their old stadiums, Georgia State bought it and renovated it into a football stadium.
Yep.
That is brilliant. That is recycling. I love it. Just put X-Lax in there. Tennessee State.
I think Tennessee wishes they put X. At least they would have an excuse.
Right. Although I think Tennessee fans would also say that's true because their team played like crap. Explains why they pooped the league. Pooped the bed. So Tennessee fans are, needless to say, they are going insane. They are in meltdown mode. There's someone who said they bought a 136 scale model dumpster, is painting it orange, putting kindling and wood inside of it, and setting it on fire.
A dumpster fire.
Their official Reddit, which is very, very clever because Reddits start with r/whatever. It's r/Akitop. Since their big thing is Rocky Top, so it spells Rocky Top. But anyway, They are going alarm bells. It's a 5-alarm fire. It's not looking good out in Knoxville.
Yeah.
Couple of other upsets. Missouri lost to Wyoming, and then Nevada. Nevada beat Purdue.
Yeah.
Purdue having upset Ohio State last year, who was on pace to go to the college football playoff for that loss. That was an amazing game. I watched the end of it. It was won by the freshman kicker playing his first ever game, a 56-yard game-winning field goal as time expired.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And on top of that, so the coach obviously gave him the game ball. But as he gave him the game ball, he also said that he got a full ride scholarship.
Nice.
So
That
it
is-
was...
Feel good.
This was an amazing first week. It had all of the drama, all of the suspense that you love in college football, and man, I missed it. It's been a long 8 months, basically, since college football was last played. So I am excited that it's back. It is back and better than ever, and I can't wait to see what happens this week.
All right, so AP Top 25 came out as well. Number 1, Clemson.
Obviously.
Number 2 is Bama.
Obviously.
Then we got Georgia and Oklahoma, Ohio State without the Louisiana State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Texas, Auburn, Florida, Texas A&M, Utah, Washington, keep on going, Penn State, Oregon, Wisconsin, UCF, Michigan State, Iowa, Syracuse, Washington State, Stanford, Boise State, and Iowa State. Who Iowa State also had a bit of a scare.
Although you may have seen there are 26 teams, but Nebraska and Iowa State are tied.
Okay.
Iowa State, that was another one. They won in triple overtime against University of Northern Iowa, who's an FCS team.
Right. So I'm very surprised that they're there, to be honest.
Well, they fell 4 spots.
Okay, well.
what I'm amazed by is that Nebraska's even ranked. They were even ranked in the preseason because they were 4-8 last year. I can't remember a team that was below 500, had a losing season, get ranked the next year. But anyway, interesting thing is UCF went down a spot. They went from 17 last week to 18th. I can kind of see why, because Wisconsin devastated USF 49-0 at USF, no less. The Scott Fries type. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. I don't agree with it because a coach cannot turn around something like that in 2 seasons. It's ridiculous. Well, that's not true. Top Frost took us from went from 7 to undefeated in 2 seasons, so I take that back. To be fair, a lot of rankings are prodigy coach hype. Yeah, that's true. So UCF went down. Oregon, they gave away that game against Auburn. It was a kickoff game down in Arlington where the Dallas
Cowboys
had Auburn dead to rights, but they just gave away the game. A friend of mine who's an Oregon fan said, "Why do we always do this?" So this is a trend of theirs. They give away the big games, unfortunately.
Right.
That's why Auburn won the national championship back in 2010 over Oregon.
Right.
I'm glad Frankfurt got Florida by 3 spots because it was not a pretty game. Other than that, things are pretty good. FU is going to be interesting for UCF this week because I don't know. Everyone thinks that we're going to blow them out of the water. I don't think so, especially since we're playing them in Boca. I don't know. I think we'll win, but I don't like to make guarantees, especially after 2015, where we should have beaten FIU. We definitely should have beaten FCS Furman. There were so many teams we should have beat, but we didn't. So I don't get my hopes up much anymore.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you guys want knowledge or info on other teams that I can cover real quick?
I'm not sure. Yeah, but anything, Charles?
I mean, Andrew,
Yes, sir.
explain to me this, because we talked a little bit about a lot of the coach prodigies and all that stuff. So I'm going to go strictly into Oklahoma, because if we have it, here we remember to forget something.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to be a player that we go, holy crap. Because I didn't know that Jalen Hurts has in him to be a 6-touchdown, 400-plus yard guy in college football, especially for that kind of system, because that, there was one of those moments where I would say, damn, that's kind of amazing. Even though I know, Oklahoma didn't really play anybody competitive. I don't even remember who they played. I remember watching highlights of the game. I think that final stat line was mighty impressive, even if it's, a little bit inflated under that kind of offense.
Well, a couple of reasons. One, I have to say, even though Houston lost, they are a very good team. They have a very good quarterback. So they're going to go with a lot of teams, a lot of trouble this year in conference, out of conference, whatever. Compared to South Florida, who got blown out, they are not going to do anything with this year, I think. But Houston is a legitimately good game. Anyway, the reason why he looked so impressive and surprised everybody is because there are 2 completely different offensive philosophies between Alabama and
Correct.
Oklahoma. Oklahoma is more of what they call air raid, which is basically throw it. See that other side of the field, like 70, 80 yards? Just throw it there and somebody will catch it.
See what happens. Let's give it a shot. What could
UCF has kind of a modified air raid, but it's just kind of like Uncle Rico. I can throw it all over the mountains. that's kind of it in a nutshell. Just throw the ball as far as you can and hope somebody catches it. Alabama, on the other hand, is not so much. They're very balanced. They do a lot of the running game. Um, they do a lot. They do very high percentage play, and it obviously works for them. But it doesn't give the quarterbacks that flexibility to just I guess you can say ball. Just do their thing, show off their arm strength, just chuck the ball downfield. So that's why he got so many stats, especially on the passing yards, because he could just throw it all day and rack up those yards. And then, since it's more of a pass-oriented system, you're obviously going to be passing more, so there's going to be more opportunities to push for a touchdown than just running the thing in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I just find it to be a big contrast. You did have one legitimate names who really transferred as starters into the first starts with their teams. Jalen Hurts and then Kelly Bryant, who's now at Missouri. And his stat line was not as overly impressive. I think he went, and I'll bring it up just to be, instead of running my mouth, hot take Charles.
He's the Stephen A. Smith of our program.
not as snappy of a dresser. That man can lock down, but give me a little bit more money, and then him and I are gonna have competition. But with Kelly Bryant, and mind you, here's the thing about Kelly Bryant, and this is what I kind of bring up because these are two guys who got literally usurped by a new prospect. These are guys who led you to championship games. Granted, Kelly Bryant was kind of between, but Bryant went 31 of 48 for 423 yards, 2 touchdowns and interception, and only had 20 yards rushing. So some would say that's more of a success to a degree, but it was very interesting, to say the least, compared to him and Jalen Hurts.
Right.
I think Mizzou has a very similar spread offense. I know air raid is a little bit different, but it's more pass friendly compared to Winston, and definitely compared to Bama.
Right. I think it also has to do with the coaching staff. I think that I don't know much about Mizzou, but their former head coach was Josh Heupel. Excuse me. Offensive coordinator was Josh Heupel. And that's part of the reason why their quarterback, I think it was Drew Lock.
Yes.
He absolutely went insane with passing, thanks in no small part to Josh Heupel. Since they lost him, they've kind of gone under the radar. So I think, even though they have the same passing philosophy, it really, in that case, comes down to coaching. Oklahoma is a much bigger brand nationally than Missouri, so they kind of had the pick of the litter. And it was, I think they promoted from within once Bob Stoops retired. So he trained him personally, coached him. So I don't know. I'll have to look into that more, but I think that's where it comes down to, is just coaching. Sorry, I'm just like...
All I know is I kind of now... You're good. No, I know. I just kind of, now that we've seen Jalen can kind of do something effectively, I kind of want that Destiny BCF championship match of him getting his revenge against Bama. Tua versus Jalen, to the death.
It's possible.
Who was the better quarterback who's going to suck in the pros?
It's definitely possible. Unlikely, unless you see. The thing is, until Clemson loses, they've got the number 1 spot. Until Alabama loses, they've got the number 2 spot. So you either have to see them come in at 4th, Clemson, which I don't think Oklahoma could beat them. But again, I'm not a prognosticator. I don't like to, do pick'ems or whatever, because I don't usually do that well. So we'll see. But I agree, though, it'd be very interesting to have the two teams face off. Who is the better quarterback? We'll see.
Okay. All right. So, is that all from college football, guys? Anything else? Nothing more? I just want to play this clip of Uncle Rico real quick.
I'm good. So let's get Uncle
I'm
Rico.
good.
That's another clip from Napoleon.
What the heck are you doing?
Oh, gosh. They had it on the plane. So, it's on Netflix. Netflix is losing movies, man.
How much you
Yeah.
bet I can throw a football over the
Blow football over the mountains. Okay, enough of that before we get copyright struck. We probably will be. All right. So, nothing new, guys. So we talked about college football, and we can go to the NFL, I guess. We still got, we got 15 minutes. So, I could talk about the Dolphins tanking for 15 minutes. I don't know. People are making a big fuss over it now because, well, now we've got the Marlins tanking and the Dolphins tanking. So things are really going well right now. The Marlins got eliminated, by the way, from the playoffs.
Go ahead, do your thing.
We got rid of our long snapper of 15 years, which I'm sure a lot of people. It's a long time to be with one team, but they got rid of him and say, hey, we're getting rid of you. I don't know why. It wasn't like he was doing a bad job. He's a long snapper, so I guess just to have something new, bring in something new for the sake of it. Now we have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's going to start against the Ravens, and Josh Rosen doesn't have an offensive line. We traded one of only like 3 or 4 good guys we have on our team, and Laramie Tunsil, away from the Houston Texans, who gave us a bunch of picks. Dolphins are just stockpiling picks at this point. So it's good in the fact that this is the first time they're actually doing this. I think when they were 1-15 with Cam Cameron back in 2007, I don't think they were doing that on purpose. I think they were just... Cam Cameron was legitimately an awful coach, and the team was just awful. Then they were expecting a playoff team with... Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins were just awful. And they had a lot of veterans on that team. I think Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor were still on that team. Anyways, now the Dolphins are finally doing the thing. They are finally doing the tanking at this point. So I'm okay with it. Don't go away, guys. You guys there?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys almost went away from me on that one. Dolphins have been, the Marlins have been tanking for almost 162 games. They made it to September 1st before being eliminated. So, but that might be more of a testament that the National League is just not that great. Whatever. Anytime a 35-year-old Trent Green is your QB, you know that you're going to lose. Oh, gosh, darn it. Yeah, that is true.
He didn't even play the whole season.
No, he didn't. He got injured.
Leo Lemon.
Yeah, he got injured.
Cleo Lemon.
Yeah, it got really bad that season. Dear Lord. Then we got Chad Pennington the next season and made the playoffs for some reason. Well, mainly because Tom Brady got injured for the whole season in 2008, and the Patriots still almost won the division. Anyways, the Dolphins are finally doing the thing. I don't see anything wrong with it. The NFL, people are making a big deal. I think Mike Greenberg had a big thing about about stopping this egregious tanking. Look, egregious tanking has been happening forever. It happened in the NHL. If you look on YouTube for I don't know if it was TSN or Sportsnet, they did a freaking a piece about the tanking that the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Jersey Devils, and a bunch of other teams were doing just to get Mario Lemieux. That was back in the early 80s. So it's something that's been happening for a long time. The 76ers, I think it mostly came to light because of what the 76ers did, where they literally told everybody, we're going to be tanking. It's going to hurt. It's going to be bad. but you're just gonna have to deal with it. The Houston Astros did it. I think their owner, when he bought the team, actually told fans, "We're going to be doing this tanking thing. Bear with us. It's going to suck for a while, but I promise you, it's going to get better in the end. This is going to be better for us in the end."
In the end, it doesn't even matter.
Why do you say that?
Try so hard.
Oh, okay.
But you never know. I mean, kind of like what Charles said. Raiders tank all the time and are actually trying to win.
The process hasn't panned out though. No, has yet to pan out. But I think, look, the Dolphins, okay. The easy part is the tanking. I think that's the easy part. The hard part is the scouting and the drafting and signing players in free agency or trading for players. That's the hard part, really. The Houston Astros did the great scouting. They mainly because they had the guy from the St. Louis Cardinals heading their program there, and no, not Tony La Russa. He went to Arizona. I think the scouting director for the Cardinals or something like that went to Houston or something, and then you had that issue where the Cardinals hacked the Astros or something like that. And they actually had to give up a draft pick to the Astros because of it. But that's a whole other aside. Anyways, that's the hard part, is the scouting and the drafting. And so the Dolphins need to get there. Now we have Chris Greer as our GM. Let's give him a chance. Stephen Ross has basically given him and Brian Flores the blessing to blow it up and see what happens, because nothing else has worked so far for the Dolphins. We'll see. But egregious tanking, I'm all for it for the Marlins. I'm all for it for the Dolphins. The Panthers recently did it, and now they finally, knock on wood. I don't have any wood here, but I think they might actually make the playoffs this year. They have all the stuff to put it together. The Sixers.
You don't think they're going to tank for Tua or tank for Trevor?
The Dolphins? Oh, yeah, they're going to put it no, I was talking about the Panthers. I'm saying the Dolphins are doing this, although I don't know if I want Tua, to be honest. That's a whole other conversation, but I don't know if I want him. I just don't feel good about it. Alabama quarterbacks haven't been great, and he's prone to injury and things like that, and I think I might want some guy like maybe Fromm, somebody like that. I don't know, but that's a whole other aside. But the Dolphins are finally doing the thing. And unlike, I don't know, I don't think people can criticize them because
I'll criticize them.
For making this decision. Some people are angry. I bought season tickets and all this other stuff. Well, you bought season tickets. First off, why would you buy season tickets to the Dolphins? That's one thing, because they always break your heart. But it is what it is. The Dolphins have tried everything so far. Nothing's worked. Their personnel is being given the green light to do it this way. Let's do it this way. I know that other teams have been able to rebuild on the fly and things like that, but I'd just rather be. Let's go with the 3-win season and suffer that way, and at least then I'm not sitting here in week 15 and like, if the Dolphins win this game, and if the Ravens lose, and if the Steelers lose, and if the Jaguars, I'm not hoping 5 other teams lose in order for them to make the playoff in the wild scenario on week 17, where if everything goes right, they might sneak in only to lose in the first round anyways. I'm good with that. So good on you, Dolphins fans. And Charles, you're probably going to give us your retort on what? Yes, go ahead, dude.
All right, so I'm going to break down 3 segments. I know I'm shocked. I'm actually doing bullet points here because I've been thinking about it. Knowing that this trade happened made me very comfortable to know that I can actually speak eloquently towards Francisco's thoughts and concerns compared to everything else. For those who are newer or don't recall, I'm not really Mr. Tank happy. Not because I don't believe that it works. I just think that it's part of it's a flash in the pan. Part of it is just you mentioned it. Losing's the easy part. The hard is drafting. And we look at the process, and everybody knows I don't like the process because the process didn't pan out. When all you have left is Joel Embiid and then Ben Simmons, and you just gave Ben Simmons a big contract. Ben Simmons can't shoot. But Charles, this is football, so let's talk football. You kind of want to see a stoppage because this is so blatant at this point. First and foremost, you trade Tunzel, so you got first rounders out of him. That's good, right? You take that as it is. You trade Kent Stills, this thing. We said it last week. That was happening because you want disruption on your team because your owner exercises the right to vote for someone who is very popular amongst that community in the NFL. Get it, sure, whatever. Kenny Stills is probably a very happy man. He's going to go to a playoff team.
Right.
So good on him.
Yeah.
I'll leave my opinion to the side, even though I think Brian Flores is a big kind of D-bag if you're going to play the Jay-Z song 8 times in a row.
Eight Jay-Z songs in a row, yeah. It's like,
Listen,
you got to learn how to handle it.
To defend Kenny Stills, and this is what I'm going to say, you're a first-year coach, real coach, because remember, in New England, you don't get the title. You're just like Belichick's boy. You're his bag boy. He knew what he can. Kenny Stills has paid his dues. He's not a transcendent player. We're not going to remember him anytime soon. But at the end of the day, it's not like he's some 22-year-old upstart. This guy is a little bit older in age. You got to know that it means something to him. And listen, I'm not, whether you agree with it or not, I don't think you should embarrass somebody just because you have clout and you're swinging your big old D around to anybody who's going to hit you. And that's what Flores kind of did. So you rub me the wrong way. I'm not a Dolphins fan. And I'd be like, well, Brian Flores, at the end of the day, he's just a puppet coach anyway, so it doesn't matter. Bringing it back, because I promise a more concise and bullet point thing. Tanking, we can't say it's boring because it's not like the lottery where you're getting it in the NBA. I got the number one pick, but you're almost not even trying. And who hurts is not the diehard fan base. You're hurting the casual fan base and the fans who actually just like to watch football. And Tennessee always kind of played against Miami. This is the first time that we're not playing in the regular season for like the last 3 years. But for those who like to watch something on CBS when they live in South Florida and they're not a Dolphins fan like me, and that's all I got, you're making me not like football. You're going to make me have to get the NFL Red.
Well,
I'm a cheap guy.
I've always said that the Dolphins have lost a generation of fans because of their mediocrity. So I'm willing to sacrifice a season, maybe even 2, just to see if this works out, because nothing else has. They've already lost the last generation of fans. Because I have family. I know a bunch of. I have a cousin who's got kids. They're Pittsburgh Steelers and whatever other team fans. I mean, they're not Dolphins fans, but they're born and raised here. Dolphins have been terrible. Dolphins have been mediocre. They've lost a generation of fans that don't remember Dan Marino, don't remember Don Shula, don't remember any of that crap, don't remember Jason Taylor even at this point. So give this a shot. We're not losing that many fans. People show up to the Dolphins games anyways. I don't know why. The only Dolphins games I've been to in the last 8 years, I think 4 years ago I went to their home opener. And they got blown out by the Buffalo Bills. So, but that's only because the tickets.
Fans than the Dolphins.
And that's only because the tickets were given to us for free. So, I'm not paying the Miami Dolphins. I've paid the Marlins, but I'm not paying the Dolphins. So, just my feelings on that. I don't know. Call me a terrible fan or whatever. Go ahead. Sorry.
There you go. So here's my third point to it, is that Chris Greer has been in your management for, I don't know, it's like 8 years, I believe. He's doing scout. He's part of the guy who's in the ears of the GM. Now, if you want to tell me Mike Tannenbaum, if you want to tell me the one that came before Tannenbaum, and then the person before, the Tony Sproul names, these are names I'm not remembering because they're not important to me anymore. Right. But, the line list of people, had that final say led to it. But I think if you're still part of the machine that lets you all these mediocre picks that led to a rut of success or lack of success, and you're going to put that and you still contributed to it into it, I don't think it works. You're basically creating a just full effect. Hey, you're a guy, part of it's all good and fine. All right, fine, fine. that they're but the guy who has been responsible, at least giving some opinion towards it of who should be drafted, the Tannehills, the Tunzels, the Pounceys, and those are just your decent players, right? Compared to like your players that don't stick, and I'll give you a name that you're gonna hate me for, Ted Ginn Jr. Yeah, so that's a concern. Now let me raise a better question to you, because I'll lead off with the answer to my question. I want to hear your guys' opinion.
Okay.
So if you can penalize tanking in football, how do you penalize tanking in football when it's so blatant? Because remember, the view of football is that it's not really just your team; it's a collective team, right? Because it's got to benefit all the owners. And if you can't sell those tickets, we're losing national money. And hey, we're the such and such team. We need to get some love. Because my suggestion is docking a late round pick. You can't take away an upper 1 through 5. It's where 6 or 7, but yet that creates issues because hey, my owner doesn't want to shed salary, but it's very different because Dolphins have cap space, if I remember correctly.
Yes, they do.
So they moved around a lot of people, and then they, look, I'm not telling you to try to sign big free agents. That's what NBA is about with their cap space. Like, hey,
I mean, the Dolphins have signed big free. I mean, they find freaking Ndamukong Suh and all. The Dolphins have thrown money at people,
this year.
Oh, okay.
This year.
Okay.
Like they have a lot of cap space, if I remember correctly. Because remember, you didn't just strip off Tunzel and Still. Also got rid of Kiko. So mind you, Kiko's a one-hit one. You guys love him so much for that one hit that he had. The guy that wasn't. That's it. Kiko can't cover the all else.
Yeah, he just doesn't like to wear a shirt all the way. That's all.
Yeah, that's a smart addition by subtraction right there. In fact, if you couldn't trademark the name Kiko Killer after that hit, you're a done guy. Sorry, go enjoy New Orleans, pal. But you got what's the message? Because at the NFL, they're so up the behinds of a lot of the team for how you should do with PD and of course the illicit drug that we don't talk about, marijuana. So why isn't it not players to take care of your players? Which is that spoiler alert we're going to talk about later. How are you going to protect these players who shift it around? They just want to be in a winning culture too. Why can't they be the winning culture? When you have an organization that doesn't want a winning culture, they just want to hope on future prospects. Maybe it's a CBA thing. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Well, those are our opinions. I don't know if Andrew wants to throw anything in here, but we're at the 1 hour mark, so
switching time.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to something a little more lighthearted, not as depressing as the Dolphins. So, word from our non-sponsors, folks. Every week, when we're keep our schedule normally like that, but we have people, places, things, concepts that we give a shout out to and thank and like and are passionate about. So, last week we had a very rousing recommendation for the KFC Cheetos sandwich by Charles. He didn't hold anybody at gunpoint for the sandwich like someone did at Popeyes when they couldn't get the sandwich. But anyways, we learned that Rawlings actually makes baseball stuff other than baseball gloves from Andrew. And I talked about Doom, which Doom 64 is now going to come to the Switch. So yay for me. So who wants to start this week?
Started last week.
Charles started last week because we needed to find out a winner of the sandwich wars.
You start this week.
Me? Okay,
yes.
Fine. I guess we can do it whoever. So I guess Andrew will start first next time. All right. So
we'll just do rotation.
Okay, we'll do a rotation then. So, anyways, this week I'm gonna have to give it to a company that I use all the time now that I travel. I'm going to have to give it to Lyft. All right. So Lyft, not Uber. I don't use Uber. They tend to be a little more expensive than Lyft for some reason every time I check. So I use Lyft. I use Lyft everywhere now when I go to travel, when I don't have to rent a car. When I'm in Atlanta or any large city, really. Atlanta, Boston, Houston, Los Angeles, San Francisco. I use Lyft. I think their prices are pretty reasonable. I think I've never had a bad experience so far in a Lyft at this point. So it's just a great way of getting around. I don't have to use. I'll tell you this: I used a taxi last year, getting home from the airport here in Miami, and I have to say, I can see why people hate them and why they are dying in some cities. It was a miserable experience. I didn't have a ton of cash on hand. They had this taxi cab had a frickin' like a touchscreen thing with a credit card thing. Like, all right, I mean, I guess I could use my credit card here and it'd be nice and simple. They have an app. They even advertise the app. They have it's called Curb, which apparently you can get a taxi using that app, and it's supposed to be like Lyft, but nobody uses it. They don't even use it because when I got to my location, the taxi driver, who was very pissed off at me for some reason, was like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to pay this in cash." I'm like, "You got the freaking machine here, and all this other stuff. You want to get your credit card info stolen?" I guess. Yeah, I don't think I would trust the taxi cab with my credit card on, but at the very least with the freaking app. Anyways, I scrounged up enough cash in my wallet to give to the guy, and I was like, I'm never using a taxi cab ever again. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. My anti-non sponsors are all taxi cab companies. I like the show Taxi, that show that came out like in the late 70s, early 80s. That was a fine show. Danny DeVito was in there. But taxi cabs are no longer a fun show with Danny DeVito on there, okay? Now, if it's just awful. Taxi cabs are awful, and that's why I like Lyft, and that's why they're my non-sponsor. And the promo code is taxis need to die.
Okay.
I'm killing an industry today. Who's next?
I can't think of anything.
You can't. Oh gosh, you were not prepared for this, were you? Okay, fine. Okay, Charles, do you have one? Maybe Andrew can scrounge one up while you got yours going on. C-rolls, are you there? Senor Charles?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, dude. All right.
I got so excited that I knocked out my headset. So, Hurricane Dorian occurred in Florida. Devastating the Bahamas. I really hope the Red Cross doesn't kind of use our money. People are going to be donating for their own endeavors. Because, I don't necessarily trust profits, but that's neither here nor there. Because God knows, there's always some kind of information. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell, we're not dead. This is not coming from the beyond, or not any kind of para-utilitarian or paranormal kind of space. But what it allowed me to do is have an additional couple of days off in addition to our Labor Day weekend, which I into a little bit of the paranormal, the spooky. Because I spent my time during the holiday playing on my PlayStation 4, controlled by Remedy Games. Guys, I like Remedy games.
Wait. What did you get?
Control.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I like a lot of Remedy games. I Max 1, they made Max 2. They were known for bullet time.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, written by Sam Lake and them. I played a little bit of Alan Wake, which was on the 360 when they contracted by Microsoft. I didn't play Quantum Break at all, because I don't have an Xbox One because they couldn't sell me on it. But when my friend told me about it at work, he's like, it's basically like Max Payne with some paranormal stuff. I'm like, I'm kind of in. I played Guacamelee over the weekend. That's my side sponsor right there. Good game, go play. I got it for $5. You should definitely do it too. But Control, it just has this unique vision, this atmosphere. It's tense. It's so cool. Guys, it reminds me of Psyops, the PS2 game, where I can shoot things, but also use telekinetic powers. I was tossing slabs of concrete, chairs, dead bodies at opposing enemies. A little bit of backstory, because I don't want to get too spoilery, but you have your main character, who is Jesse Faden, getting into this Bureau of Control, and then she finds herself in a position of leadership. And then the rest is kind of crazy. I won't go there. Guys, it's kind of like X-Files meets Twin Peaks meets a shooter, and I'm about it. I dig it. It's freaking sweet. There are some technical hiccups. Hopefully, Remedy is going to work on some patches because it kind of takes away from it. But I'm having a stellar time. I probably got in like 6 hours of gaming towards it, which is a lot for me because, as Francisco can attest to, it's very hard to play video games as an attorney. But you guys, I think if it caps that 1-6 landing, I'm about halfway through, I'll probably give it like 8.5 or 9. I bought it like Friday. I got it for free because I have gift cards. But it's one of those games where I probably paid $40 for, and I'm enjoying it. So if you don't have it now, get on your Redbox. Wait till Black Friday. Just have fun. Just support it because I kind of want a sequel. So spend your money. So my responsibility is gonna be Control. You get it on the PS4, PC, or Xbox One. Promo code Paranormal.
Okay. Alrighty. Cool. Oh, by the way, we're getting Overwatch on the Switch too. That's another thing. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry, Andrew. Go ahead.
It's all right. My non-sponsor is Netflix.
Okay. Alrighty.
Safe bet.
I don't know if we've done Netflix before.
I don't think we have. So go ahead.
Netflix. I am a big Star Trek fan, especially Next Generation. And I've watched the whole series once, but this summer I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'd like to watch Star Trek again because I really like that show. It inspires me. It gives me some hope for the world. So
just follow the Prime Directive. Just follow the Prime Directive.
Exactly. And yes, I do have CBS All Access. I had it before, but I'm definitely keeping it because of Picard. So they have Next Generation on Netflix, along with I think the original series. They have pretty much all the TV series on there, as far as I know. But I've just been rewatching through Next Generation, so I guess that's my side or co non-sponsor of the week is CBS for Star Trek, and then Netflix for hosting it on their platform. So yeah, that's pretty short and sweet on my part. Promo code Engage.
Okay. And that's by the way, the Next Generation, that's where all your Patrick Stewart memes come from. With especially the one with him face palming. All right. Okay. That was actually a quick non-sponsor segment actually. That was very very fast compared to last week, but all right. I dig it. Netflix. Alrighty. All right, guys. I want to get to one of our one that we don't really use very often, but it's one that I like to talk about, called Let's Haul Y'all, where we look up a Hall of Famer. Remember the Hall of Famers, we got to revere them and cherish them because they are the greatest of all players. So my Hall of Famer that I looked up randomly is Grant Fuhr. And Andrew's going to like this because Grant Fuhr is, of course, a...
Goalie.
Yes, and most famously for...
Well, it depends on who you ask, but either the Oilers or the Blues.
Okay, but most likely the Oilers. He was part...
He was on the Blues when I was growing up.
Right.
So that's where I first knew him, but he definitely was more famous for the Oilers.
Right, exactly. So Grant Fuhr was the backstop for the Dynasty Edmonton Oilers, Gretzky era, Messier era. He was born September. Oh, he was born in September. Oh, wow, that's a nice thing. He was born in Spruce Grove, Alberta, drafted by the Edmonton Oilers, and he was he became inducted to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2003. Just 403 wins. Frickin' 25. I mean, this guy. I'll tell you this. He played to his era. Mm-hmm. He played to his era. Most famously known for his glove work. Roberto Luongo. That was actually his favorite player growing up, and Roberto Luongo wanted to be him. And most notably, he wanted to replicate Grant Fuhr's glove because that man could catch anything from anywhere. So that was what Roberto Luongo focused on. He played 10 seasons with the Edmonton Oilers, 4 with the St. Louis Blues, and then 3 in Buffalo, 2 in Toronto, and stint in LA and the Calgary Flames, which is kind of almost blasphemy if you would say, you would think, right? Him playing on the Flames of all teams. That's like I can't even compare it to anybody else. Who would it be? It'd be like David Ortiz playing for the New York Yankees. Could you imagine that? That's oof.
I mean, Johnny Damon did it.
Yeah, but you know,
Johnny Damon was not
He's-
David Ortiz.
exactly. That's
That's an argument for a different day.
yeah, okay, but all right. Anyways,
I mean, not talent-wise, of course.
right, okay. So he won the Vezina Trophy in 1988. Vezina Trophy, if anybody does not know, is the Goalie of the Year award. Basically, goalies are kind of akin to pitchers in baseball, so kind of like the Cy Young of hockey. 4-time Stanley Cup winner, 2-time All-Star, and he won the 1993-94 William M. Jennings Trophy. For those of you who don't know, and that
Goals against average, right?
no, actually, it's the combined. I think it's the combined GAA, yeah, goals against average for a team. So it can be two, you know, the goalie and their backup, the starting goalie and the backup goalie can win it together. So the William M. Jennings Trophy can be, like Roberto Longo won it with Corey Schneider, I think. And so it's a dual award, I would say. Anyways, I don't know how much more I could say about this guy. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. He was part of a dynasty of all things. Don't know what else to say. He's Grant Fuhrer.
I do want to add that he's one of the very small number of left-handed goaltenders.
Ah, yes, that's actually very significant. Actually, that's actually incredibly significant. And he has a Twitter account at Grant Fuhrer if you want to follow him.
I mean, it obviously doesn't affect his goaltending style, but it's just interesting.
And-
Another very famous one is Tom Barrasso.
Right, for the Penguins.
Correct.
Anyways, I don't know. Before I go off from this one, I wanted to see if the website shows up as it did on my. Okay, no, it shows up a lot better here than it did on my phone. You see, the Hockey Hall of Fame website looked like it was made in 1999 on my phone, while it looks like it was made in 2009 here on the computer screen. Anyways, and they got a Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky exhibit going on right now. And, oh gosh, Team Sundin versus Team Lynch. It's, okay, the Hockey Hall of Fame is in Toronto, if anybody wants to go there. Anyways, that's all, y'all. That's my little segment there. If anybody wants to look up any Hall of Famers, I can look them up right now. But if we want, we can move on to another segment. No?
I guess we can move on.
Alrighty, so I don't know if anybody has a Gottlieb Goon, but last week Charles created a new segment for us called Gottlieb's Goons. I don't really have anybody. I mean, you did mention Antonio Brown, which he could be a perennial member. He could be a Gottlieb Goon Hall of Famer, if you will, with his antics. But we could show it up. Okay, I've created. I just wanted to show you guys the graphic. There's Gottlieb's Goons. That little silhouette figure right there is actually Doug Gottlieb's head, looking kind of like the Colonel, like a spooky Colonel, if you will. It's actually one of the worst photos that I could find of him, and I just made a silhouette that kind of went in our graphical style there. So this is the Gottlieb's Goons segment of the show. I don't know if anybody wants to look up anybody that said something stupid, but
I'm gonna take a stab at
all
it.
right,
with
go
Antonio
ahead.
Brown, because we talked about it.
Antonio
So,
Brown.
for ladies and gentlemen, viewers of all ages, considering the fact that this was just only created, we're gonna fall in love with it really quickly. We're not gonna kill it. We're gonna keep it going for a little bit. I know we mentioned last week about we were aiming for kind of sports analysts, but listen, in theory, all sports players of any sport can be an analyst, and really it's just they're acting like goons instead of goofs. If you're sports goofs, you're cool. If you're sports goons, you're not. You get onto the Gottlieb's Goon segment, and for our Gottlieb's Goon from my end, it is Antonio Brown. Full disclaimer, I know it's just easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel or just catching it with a net. I like Antonio Brown. He's a nice guy. He's kind of fallen off the radar of, of just sanity, and now has landed on the radar of kind of like, what's going on, dude? because for like the first 2/3 of your professional career, you're quiet.
Yep.
Now you get kind of psycho. And I won't even say it's psycho. Maybe it's offended, maybe it's impassioned, maybe it's passionate. But you're kind of being a goon. And he's a goon for what he's kind of said today. So Mike Mayock, the GM, has fined him $54,000 for missing time during training camp.
A lot of time.
A lot of time. Mind you, part of it was for injury. He did have that cryogenic incident that left his feet burn. It's kind of hard for a sport where you're not sitting and playing video games, esports looking at you, to be on the field, running, doing any kind of cuts, movements, you're going to rub your feet raw. I kind of get it. But then there was the helmet issue, which to this day, I don't even know. I'm not even going to comment on it. I don't wear helmets. I barely wear hats. Sorry. But so they fined him $54,000. So what makes him a goon is just his response that, he's a social media fanatic now. And I was okay with kind of being petty towards Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers organization because I love petty players. I think actually that's how nothing will make you try harder than shame and humiliation, guys, in a sport or even in a post conference. And that's what we're going to tell you about. Why? How do we know? We got Russell Westbrook when he divorced, or when he was divorced from, Kevin Durant. You got petty Russ, and it was the best kind of Russ. Jilted Lover Russ is my favorite Russell. I don't know about this Russell in Houston, because now he's just going out with the friend that they really shouldn't be dating, but they still should stay friends, but it's going to be bad with James Harden. That's another story, different day. But Antonio Brown putting on, I think, his Instagram, whatever, saying when your own team, and this is all caps, mind you. So I guess I'm just new with the social media, so please forgive my age self. But I guess when everything's in all caps, that means he's shouting. Is that true, gentlemen? I'm guessing so. But he's going saying when your own team wants to hate, but there's no stopping me now. Devil is a lie. There should probably be a comma somewhere. I'm very proud of him for putting theirs as in there is, as opposed to misspelling it like I did earlier. Everyone got paid this year, so we clear. But why? So you're kind of a goon just for not using the proper kind of English syntax and grammar. But this team is the one who took a chance on you. They're paying you money. And mind you, Gruden's just not good with personality, and you got somebody who's like the most personality, and this is Mike Mayock's first year. I feel like this kind of behavior is going to kind of leave a pressure fold that causes a fissure and leads to some bad results, because three things are going to happen. He's going to show up, he's going to play great, the Raiders are going to be contenders for the AFC West, doubtful, but whatever. The other thing that's going to happen is that they're going to trade you mid-season to either a playoff caliber team who really will deal with it, New England, just because they want to get some success, or you're going to be damned to a terrible effing team that's just going to eat your contract, doesn't got the cap space because of what the Raiders are going to give them as a draft pick is worth the salary, a la what the Houston Texans did for Brock Osweiler to get him out, sending a second-round pick to Cleveland. You are an excellent player. You were going to the Hall of Fame. There, I said it. But you're being a kind of goon. Just keep your mouth quiet and let your performance show. And then when you get them touchdowns, talk some smash. Talk some trash, pal. But you're kind of being a goon because everyone got to pay this year, so we clear? I mean, I already got the memo. I thought the whole thing was you're going to show us that you're worth your dollars and values. I thought this whole season was about giving the middle finger to Ben Roethlisberger. I want you to succeed. I don't really like Big Ben. Come on, Antonio. Stop being a goon.
Okay. That's kind of like an editorial segment at the end of God. Okay, all right. So Antonio Brown, just don't let us see you on this segment again. All right. All right. If you want to sponsor us, by the way,
I'll buy a jersey.
We're at patreon.com/Sports Goofs. If you Antonio Brown, just Yeah, I know you just paid $54,000. We're not asking for much. Just give what you can. We'll look for the helmets for you. We'll look for all the helmets that you used to have. We'll scour the whole country with the money that you give us, and we'll create a giant collection of those helmets for you. All right.
Plus a finder's fee on top of that.
Yeah, of course. And of course, we have to be reimbursed for any expenses. But okay, anyways, that's the end of that. And another segment that I wanted to get out of the way because we're on a roll with this right now, and it's better know a minor league team. So as you all know, there's a ton ton of minor league teams from every league. Uh, Baseball especially, there's like 4 billion of them for all 30 teams. So this one, we just rest in peace, baby cakes. Hey, Freddie. Freddie's here, by the way. Freddie, he's the creator of a thing called Fred Rank, which I think we might be discussing today.
I'd like to slide it in if we can.
Right, we can discuss it after better known minor league teams. So we are doing the Erie Seawolves. All right, the Erie Seawolves, everybody. Buckle up. Let's see if they have a Wikipedia page. Because if they don't, that would be very difficult for us to talk about them. But here it is. All right, the Erie Seawolves. Did I just read this correctly? Their mascot, I think their mascot's name is Sea Wolf. Like letter C dot and then wolf. So that's actually very clever. They play in the Eastern League. They play in the Western Division of the Eastern League. They are currently a AA team since 1999. They play in Erie, Pennsylvania. They were founded in 1995. They are currently the minor league affiliate of the Detroit Tigers, which means they're going to be getting a very high draft pick because the Tigers are the worst team in baseball right now. Actually, if I look on our very handy website, if none of you have seen it, the Dolphins are going to use it very, very often this year. It's called tankathon.com. The Detroit Tigers currently have a 4.5 game lead over the Baltimore Orioles for the worst record in baseball. If they win this, they will get the number 1 pick in the 2020 MLB draft. The Marlins are 8.5 games back, so the Marlins are going to have to do some really serious tanking here if they're going to catch up to the Tigers. But the Tigers are at 96 losses. I think they're really giving this tanking a run for its money. And the Tigers know tanking. They had, I think, the worst record in American League history back in 2003. All right. That's an aside there. The Erie Seawolves, they used to be the affiliate for the Anaheim Angels in 99 and 2000. And before that, the Pittsburgh Pirates. They've won 4 division titles. I don't think they've yet to win a AA championship. And they play at UPMC Park. Don't know what UPMC is, but maybe Andrew will look it up. Probably a bank or university.
Pittsburgh Medical Center, I think.
Okay, alrighty.
University of Pittsburgh Medical Center.
Which holds about 6,000 fans. Anyways, let's go back to the Seawolves and look at their. They've retired 2 numbers, Jackie Robinson, which does not need much explanation, and Sam Jethro. I'm looking for their notable alumni, if they have a list of them. Do they have a notable alumni? I don't see a list of notable alumni. That's actually pretty sad. Unless they don't have any notable alumni, but they've been the Tigers affiliate for such a long time. I would assume there'd be a ton of Detroit Tigers, especially during their actual good era, back between 2006 and 2014. Regular season, nope. You know what? I'm not even gonna bother. That's the Erie Seawolves. We're done. So he's the John Cena of mascots. All right. Anything else, guys?
From the minor league?
No. Just any other. We're moving on here. Andrew, you did want to mention Fred here, now that he's actually joined the show. So, go ahead.
All right, Freddie, take it away. I don't know what you want to cover, but I think you said you have CFL going. I know that he's had CFL going this whole year. Fred, take the wheel. It dropped 27 points. Very nice. 27 spots. Very good. Very, very good. Excellent.
It sounds like you're tinting your fingers while you're saying that.
I actually was. I really was.
Mr. Burns style. All right. So, but can you explain the Fred rank while we're waiting his manifesto?
I mean, I don't know the methodology he uses. I know that he has what's called pure Fred rank, or what I call pure Fred rank, which is just his proprietary blend or whatever he uses to rank. But then he also has one where he mixes in other polls to kind of create a more rounded, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. But I think Fred rank by itself is a great polling system. Honestly, I think it's better than some of the quote-unquote professional ones.
Alrighty. So I've
Like I
got
said, I don't know his methodology he uses.
I've got his website up right now. So we've got the Week 11 CFL ratings and the preseason college football one, but I'm assuming he's working on the Week 1 aftermath, especially now the AP poll is already out.
Right.
So, let's see the explanation here. For post week 1 of the exclusive reveal. Oh, exclusive reveal. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me actually look that up. Let's see if I can copy and paste that onto this. So.
And he does all levels of football. He does NFL, CFL, FBS and FCS, FCS college football. For the 2 seconds it was a league, he did AAF. I believe he's going to be starting the XFL next season. And it's, like I said, it's a very, very good system, and it's pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. It's going to pop up real quick. Oh, gosh.
Exclusive reveal.
Dear Lord, it is long. I got to zoom in on this, actually. That is very, very large.
He covers all 130 teams.
Dear Lord. Okay. Let me find a way to get this on here real quick. Actually, let me go to Discord, because that's where he actually posted it. And I will download the image and then post it on the screen and have it scrolling down. Technology, folks. Meanwhile, people can talk amongst themselves in the background. Any other topics while we wait for this?
I'll steal a moment just to kind of break in the background going from there. Maybe I'll get a little bit of intrigue coming in. So for those who don't know, I also like boxing. I've always kind of contemplated trying to see some kind of combat coming into it, and that MMA, things of that nature. So my process, and this one for you guys, what does it take to get a casual viewer into any kind of martial arts or boxing or anything? Years ago, you can just go to the local L house, kind of go from there. Now, watch fights. Now I can just get like ESPN Plus and just watch some boxing fights. I know when Chico had a fight, she handily won, but I just can't get motivated to convince myself to pay $6 to see something that I like often. And I wonder if you guys ever had, to bring it all together, I wonder if you guys ever had a sport that you used to be supportive of, and then you just kind of lost that lack or that passion for. I think part of it is because the classes in the divisions aren't as competitive as they used to, especially the heavyweight divisions. But food for thought for you guys to think of now or in the future as Freddie's getting his stuff all
Sports that I used to be very supportive of and now just kind of fell out of it in a way.
Yeah, the proverbial meh.
NFL football. The Dolphins have pretty much killed.
Shots fired. But you're passionate because you're passionate for the tanking, though.
I'm passionate. Well, like I used to be very hardcore, where I would know every single guy on the team and things like that. But as the years have gone on, I've realized that why am I wasting my time with this? Like, and that's kind of when I started liking hockey at the same time. So I became full on into NHL, which but worked out for me because of I started getting into the world of actual hockey, like actually rubbing elbows with people involved in the sport. The Dolphins never gave me that. All right, Stephen Ross, by the way, if you want to be a sponsor of Sports Goofs, patreon.com/Sports Goofs. I'll tell you, I mean, we'll throw a gala for you. We'll throw a gala for you. All right, we could throw galas. All right, we'll host it at the Holiday Inn Convention Center here in Miami. We won't charge $200,000 a plate, but we'll get some KFC Cheeto sandwiches in there for everybody. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be
So we actually have it on the screen here, so we can talk about this and take it away, Freddie. This is the Fred rank, and this is very comprehensive. Wow, he even has his bowl prediction. All right. Bowl prediction, final regular season. Okay, so we are in the thick of this. So number 1 is Clemson.
And then he just briefly mentioned. So Fred rank is 20 different measures, and I'm looking to see what measure means. And then 17 is 20. Wait, hold on. So it's. I feel like college football analysts plagiarized from Freddie. They would be lucky to. Like I said, I really like Fred rank.
And for those of you watching, it's scrolling. It's scrolling very slowly, so we can talk about it. But it is scrolling, so you can see all the teams ranked from there.
Let me see what you're looking at.
Clemson has gone away. Now we're at Alabama. Then following is Georgia at number 3, Oklahoma, Ohio State. So it's going there, but. So yeah, go ahead.
I mean, so far, it's pretty on point. It's interesting. You'll get to it in a second, but Michigan's going to be facing UCF in the Cotton Bowl, which means that looking at, and I love that he also predicts what the final record will be. So he has UCF and Memphis in conference championship game, which would be amazing. That would be 3 straight years they would play each other in the conference championship game. I'm still kind of surprised that Florida is so high, but they started off at least in the let's see what we had them in the preseason bowl.
I actually move this a little faster.
Go a couple miles per faster.
Yeah, it's going about the speed that Dorian was going. Actually, gosh, dear Lord, that hurricane was awful.
Yeah. So he dropped them. He dropped them a spot, which I think is 2 spots actually. So that's fair.
This is actually fairly reminiscent to the AP poll, but in, of course, using his metrics.
Right. I mean, he's really, really good. I can't say it enough. Where are we right now in terms of teams?
Washington, Florida, Auburn, Texas A&M, Utah. Well, this is me on my screen now. Of course, you're going to see with a bit of a delay,
right,
compared to what I have. But they're coming up now.
I like that he has UCF ahead of Wisconsin. We won, so it's kind of interesting that that the AP voters would jump them ahead of us. But I digress. So far there's not really any teams that I disagree with in his poll. Like, he doesn't have Nebraska in there, which is fantastic.
Yeah, my brother-in-law would like that Mississippi State is there at 25. So, there's the Red Box Bowl. Dear Lord.
Yes, I think it.
He's got the Sun Bowl for Stanford. I'm surprised he didn't put Tony the Tiger there. I just because I wanted to see Tony the Tiger. I don't think it would fit there.
The Red Box Bowl used to be the San Francisco Bowl. It used to be Foster Farms Bowl, which was the Fight Hunger Bowl, which was the Animal Bowl, which was the San Francisco Bowl.
Oh gosh. This is why, like, if the Seminoles don't make any of the, historical bowl games, the big ones, I really don't care. To be honest. All right, the Beef O'Brady's Bowl, the Bad Boy Mowers Bowl, the Tax Slayer Bowl. God, that was awful. Oh, I think we should. You know what would be a fun thing to do? One episode. We should have a tier list of stadium names or a tier list of bowl game names.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, we collect all of them for this year and be like, this is the tier list, since everybody's making tier lists. Alrighty. Miami.
Wow, he has Nebraska really far down.
Yeah, he's got Miami ahead of them, one spot.
Yay.
So they're at 31.
They took the 11th place team to the brink, so it makes sense.
Florida State is at 41, and he's got them playing in the Sun Bowl against Stanford, which will probably get killed. But I could use a trip to El Paso. Okay. Iowa State dropped all the way out of the bowl picture. Well, they should. They should. They shouldn't even. Yeah, they shouldn't. I mean, gosh. Like, all right. So that was it's very comprehensive. Very, very comprehensive.
FP be here for the rest of the episode to cover the other teams.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we could
go through and
we can have it scrolling in the background to if anything strikes at you, you can mention it,
is there anything else you'd like to add? I mean, you're the master of the poll, so I'd like to see what you have to say about this.
Well, whilst he thinks of something, we'll look at the baseball scores right now. The Tigers are actually winning, so that actually helps our taking efforts here in Miami. And they're winning over the Royals, which doesn't help our taking efforts because the Royals are also tanking. The Mets actually won today, 8-4. They actually made sure that they won. Oh, we were going to mention the New York Mets. Oh, Charles.
I want to tell him.
The Yankees are winning 4-0, by the way, Charles. So
Yay.
There you go.
How are the Rays doing?
The Rays, I don't see the score on our score crawl, but I can look it up because I have the MLB app open right now. And unless they're not playing tonight. No, they're not playing today.
Okay.
They're not playing today.
Senor Charles. So what happened was the Mets were playing the Nationals in Washington last night. The Mets had a 10-4 lead in the bottom of the ninth. I looked it up. The Mets have never lost a game when they were up by 6 or more runs in the bottom of the ninth. The Nationals Expos never won a game when they were down 6+ runs in the bottom of the ninth.
Mm-hmm.
They lost. They gave up 7 runs in the bottom of the ninth. There's actually a fantastic statistic. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm looking at the game recap right now, but
Here you go.
Go ahead.
So, the Mets, when leading by 6+ runs in the ninth inning or later, their record before last night was 806-0. They had played 106 games where they were ahead by 6 or more runs in the ninth inning. or later. They had won every single one of them. Conversely, the Nationals/Expos had played 775 games when trailing by 6 or more runs in the 9th inning or later. They had lost every single one of them. That changed last night.
Man, that's such a needed win game for the Mets because that's basically a death blow this stage of the game.
Yeah.
They're chasing the Nationals for the wild card spot.
Right.
And then add to that, in this season, the 2019 season, there have been 274 games when a team was leading by 6 or more runs in the bottom of the 9th. All 274 games were wins for the team ahead.
Well, 275 did not come.
Exactly.
Who's to say that baseball can't be dramatic? The other month
I mean, this is one of those, like, they were discussing having a mercy rule. If there was a mercy rule, I mean,
stuff like this doesn't happen.
Exactly. These miraculous things are that I think the Indians against the Mariners in like 2001, I think.
The Yankees against the Indians was like 15-3, I think, a week ago.
Yeah, so it. And Urinating Tree posted a video actually because I think he was doing. He was doing
his
podcast,
dumpster fire.
Yeah, live stream with 5 Points Vids, who is a New York Mets fan, unfortunately.
And a New York Giants fan.
Right. So he's having oodles of fun. At least the Mets are in it, but excellent. As he called it, excellent Metsing. The Mets themselves.
Oh, here's something interesting. So Freddie has FIU going to the Bahamas Bowl again.
Oh. Ooh. Well.
Well, it looks like he has them losing the Bahamas Bowl.
Yeah, we'll see if and we'll see what happens with the Bahamas. We still don't know the toll of that.
Point.
So,
well, a bad point, but a good point.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know, I understand. I mean, they could always move the game to Marlins Park or something, which has hosted a bowl game.
Did for a couple of years, and then they moved it to Frisco.
Oh, wow.
The DXL Bowl, remember that?
Ah, yeah. All right, so continuing on, let's see other scores here. The Minnesota Twins are facing the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox are winning 4-0. Giants 4-2 over the Cardinals right now. White Sox losing 6-2 to the Indians. The Marlins are tied 3-3 with the Pirates. I don't know how that's happening. Well, the Pirates are awful. As well. They're just not as awful as the Marlins. The Phillies are losing 5-6 against the Reds. The Phillies also need that game very badly. Baseball playoff race is getting interesting now. Teams are getting eliminated. The bad teams are getting knocked out. The Blue Jays, Royals, Orioles, Marlins. The Mariners are about to get knocked out. The New York Yankees still holding their lead over the Rays by a lot. Looks like if they, coast from here on, they'll win the division. Still, I think one game ahead of the Houston Astros for the best record in the American League, and they are tied with the Los. Actually, they're probably like a half game ahead of the Dodgers for the best record in baseball, which is going to matter because they could have home field in the World Series if that happens. The Astros leading by a ton in the West. They're going to cruise for that one. The Minnesota Twins are getting hot at the right time. They are now 6 games ahead of I think they're 6 games ahead. Let me see. They are actually 6.5 games ahead of the Cleveland Indians, who are kind of 5-5 in the last 10. The Twins are 9-1. Twins are getting hot at the right time, trying to seal that division. Still got a month to go, though. Still a lot of time. The wild cards, the Rays leading the first wild card right now by a game over the. How is that a game over the Houston Astros? I think because they've played more games, but over the Oakland A's. Sorry, the A's are currently tied with the Cleveland Indians for that second wild card spot, and the Boston Red Sox are giving one last push to get into this playoff picture right now. They would be in the picture if they were in the National League. Speaking of the National League, and let's see, hold on. I'm looking at the comments here from Freddie. Strength. He's talking about his way of measuring his Fred rank there. I really like this. I like how it's scrolling along as well. And you get every single team is there. All right, continuing on. The Atlanta Braves are getting hot at the right time as well. It looked like the Nationals were pushing in that division, but the Braves have gotten hot, and the Nationals have gotten hot as well. But the Braves have kept their 7-game lead now over the Nationals. Still a month left. Somebody could choke away, but the Cardinals have also gotten hot at the right time. Leading the Central Division, not by much. The Cubs are hanging in there, 3 games back. The Los Angeles Dodgers winning the division by a ton. I think they've wrapped it up at this point. No, actually, the magic number is 5 for that division. The Phillies, 2.5 games back of the Cubs for the second wildcard spot. Nationals are in the first one, 3 games ahead. Arizona Diamondbacks hanging in there, getting hot at the right time as well, 3.5 games back. The Milwaukee Brewers are 4 games back, but I think they're a pretender. Christian Yelich is an asshole. The New York Mets.
That came out of nowhere.
Well, he is. He's a dick. The New York Mets.
Please sponsor us, Christian Yelich. Forget what he says.
Get your naked body out of my face. He was on the Sports Illustrated.
For anyone that doesn't know why he brought that up, it's because ESPN did its
annual
body issue, and he was one of the people.
Yeah. So it looked like his head was photoshopped onto that body, by the way. It just doesn't match the rest of it, but not that I was paying too much attention to it. Now, not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay, sorry. New York Mets, 4.5 games back of the wild card, but they are not doing well right now. 4-6 in their last 10, and that was a pretty big blow to them, that loss. But they won today, so who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? The Mets had a chance of blowing it up this year and getting draft picks and stuff, but they're going for it, much to everyone else's. I don't know. Thoughts, it looked like naked Philly online, naked Yelich.
Yes.
Gosh.
The Philadelphia Eagles offensive line was also part of the body issue.
Yes. We're not going to show that, by the way, for those who actually watch this. Yeah. But we're on Google. I think I just posted us to get approved by Google for their podcast app. We're on Apple Podcasts, by the way, if you have an iPhone or iPad or a Mac. I don't even think you need a Mac to listen to us on there, just iTunes in general. All right. That's baseball for now, but I think next week we'll talk about the NFL, but we'll actually talk about, now that baseball playoff races are getting there, our pretenders, our contenders, and what we think about them. Hour 53 now, guys. We're in the home stretch now. Anything else that jumps out at you?
Oh, that Zeke deal, man.
Ah, yes, Ezekiel Elliott, finally.
I know. So I'll take a stab at it to lead out. To cut it out, we all knew that Zeke was trying to hold out for a better deal. It's very tough for running backs to get big guarantee because they're a dime a dozen, basically, in the NFL. As quarterbacks, you can't.
And good old El Paso, they're rounding out the bottom of this Fred rank here, but they'll get it together, guys. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, UTEP. You go out and get them, all right? You'll be there next to... You see, you're kind of next to Clemson when it rolls back out there. If you look at it from this angle, you're ahead of Clemson.
It's kind of like how with absolute temperature, it reaches a point where things get so hot that it switches around to being the bottom reaching absolute zero. So you're so cold, and conversely so cold that it becomes hot. So El Paso, UTEP is so cold that they're swapping around to the hottest possible, which right now is Clemson.
Okay, sorry, Charles. Go ahead.
Life is a circle, and now it's going to circle back to Zeke Elliott. So,
Isn't that that's what crap, what's his name? Our torts professor, 1L?
yes.
Oh gosh, darn it, man.
He who should not be named. Yes, because it's all about the circle.
The circle is the answer for everything. Or Gandhi in the Civilization case.
Now the circle for Zeke Elliott was about them zeros for the dollar signs he was going to get. So, he was holding out. He wanted more money. He probably said, hey, why is it that Carson Wentz, who's riding the coattails of Nick Foles, is getting all this guaranteed cash? Jared Goff, who couldn't even do anything in the Super Bowl, is getting all this guaranteed cash. Le'Veon Bell, who got a good amount of cash and didn't do anything for a whole year. And then Todd Gurley, who didn't do anything in the Super Bowl because he was injured, get cash and I can't get cash. Today, he signed 6 years, $90 million, $50 million guaranteed. And I texted the guys earlier about this. Like, good for him, good for getting his catch at, 24. I feel like he kind of didn't move the needle. I really feel like he didn't. Yeah, $50 million is a lot of money. But I feel like it didn't hit the big point or the big message that I think, as a pay me out, you the old Slivagate mindset. I really think the concern of need that guarantee money of the that set contract the owner and you the GM, because we're from a lot of these players, especially for running backs, their sign contracts now when they're around 2026. Their lifespan is cut out basically for the next 3 years in theory without injury. So it's really saying, hey, I want the guarantee money at this young age in my 3rd year in the league. Or wait, he's going to his 4th year. Yeah, so going to my 4th year league because I don't think you're going to take care of me come year 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10. So I'd rather have that guarantee now. So I really don't think it accomplished Zeke as a deal. I don't think it accomplished much of what the now. I think it's a CBA issue because if you look at it, there's a lot of 4th year guys who got big money extensions because they don't want the situation to hold out the way that Le'Veon did. They want the situation of doing double franchise tags the way that Kirk Cousins did. And maybe it just says, hey, how are you going to, and the CBA is coming up in 2020. So, this is Jerry Jones just playing Jerry Jones because Jerry Jones always has an ulterior motive because, hey, let's pay Zeke now because he can hit the franchise tag on Amari this year and then hit the transitional tag on Dak Prescott this year as well. So it just says to me, okay, you got a lot of guaranteed money. You didn't really reset the whole marketplace. Good for Dallas for not being stupid, but I really feel like it didn't accomplish anything at a whole to do this holdout on a bigger system. Because that's what a lot of the guys do. Like, Le'Veon Bell's whole purpose of holding out was I'm a multi-tool receiver. I'm a 1,500-yard rusher, and I'm like a 1,000-yard receiver, man. You need to pay me more value. And you got 2 guys in a couple of years who are going to kind of need some good precedent to help them out, and that's Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey was almost part of the 1,000. Good for Zeke, making a lot. He doesn't do anything benefit the market the way that AJ Green did, the way that the Odell Beckham deal did. He is as just the Wentz Jared deal did, which Jared Goff deal was the day before Zeke had his deal signed.
I mean, I think it just goes to the fact that he's a running back. And the running back position isn't as cherished as it used to be.
Correct.
So I guess this is, like you said, it wasn't as big of a statement as those other deals for other positions for the other guys. But I guess in a sense it sort of is a statement for running backs in this day and age. I'm sure if he was playing in the 90s or the early 2000s, this would be he'd be getting paid a lot more in that sense because running backs were more valuable than now. A lot of teams do the 2-back or whatever. They've got a tandem of running backs or what have you. It's just not as big of a deal. Maybe Jerry, because Jerry Jones, Emmitt Smith was probably the biggest reason why the Cowboys won back in the 90s. Kind of thought Ezekiel was valuable enough for this deal here, but it wasn't. He got paid his money. He got his money, but and once again, it'll set a bar for other guys coming in the future.
Yeah, to touch on it, to leave it off on it, because I know time's short. Andrew might want to chime in too.
Sure.
It makes me think of a bigger issue that comes in, is that to take care of these guys who are in a more rough position of play, such as the running backs, linebackers, what have you, maybe the issue, and I suggested this earlier, maybe we can touch upon this late football season, maybe the issue isn't just having these kind of, because what all them re-signing their entry for their season. Maybe the idea is whatever the position they're getting, other number 4 picks in the draft that fell into Zeke's value, and each one's going to want to get paid. Granted, Burnett is not worth the value, nor is poor Melvin Gordon, but we'll talk about that at a different time. But Jalen Ramsey can be in a different situation. So maybe it's saying, hey, those top 5, top 10 picks in the draft, they're going to get a little bit more guaranteed money because that's how it works anyway, right? But we're just going to fade it to the top 5 or the top 10 just so we're taking care of them early. And if they suck, that's on the drafting team. That's their problem.
Okay. All right. So
I don't really have much to chime in with.
Yeah.
Because as I've said once, and I'll say it again, I don't care much for the NFL.
Okay.
Rigged.
All right. So we're at the 2-hour mark, and I guess we're gonna close it out here. So thanks, guys, for joining me. Thanks, Freddie, for sharing your Fred rank for this coming week and letting us premiere it. Actually, before you post it on your website. Any closing thoughts, you guys? No?
Do you want to start, Charles?
Everybody do yourself a favor. Get yourself a KFC Cheeto sandwich, and you'll love life a little bit. Life is short, guys. You know what was closed during Hurricane Dorian? KFC. And I couldn't get my Cheeto sandwiches. Now, never again.
Okay.
I guess, say hi to your family. Tell them you love them. Sports is very serious for us, and we, sports may seem like it's life sometimes, but seeing what's happening right now in the Bahamas and what could possibly happen up in North and South Carolina in the next couple of days, really kind of puts things in perspective, at least for me. So, tell your family you love them, make sure that you're safe, be good, and we'll see you next week.
Right. Good close, Andrew. All right, guys. Take care. Adios.
Good night.
See ya.